Here's the brief. News from the world over this week. For the first time, ISIS has targeted a church in Western Europe. A horrific execution took place at morning mass in northern France on Tuesday. 2 knife-wielding men stormed a church and killed the celebrant. 85-year-old Father Jacques Hamel was martyred, his throat slit after being forced to his knees. The assailants held others, including nuns in the church, hostage as a sermon was given from the pulpit in Arabic. As the attackers came out of the church shouting Allahu Akbar, they were shot and killed by police. ISIS has claimed responsibility. Authorities identified one of the attackers as a French national who served 10 months in prison for twice trying to travel to the battlefields of Syria. President François Hollande said the attackers had committed a cowardly assassination, and France would fight ISIS by all means. France and England have since increased security at their churches. The Vatican also responded to the attack. Spokesman Greg Burke.
Barbaric killing. And unfortunately, it took place in a sacred place. The Pope notes in his telegram that this took place actually during the Mass. The Mass it's a sacred event in a sacred time, which makes this event all the worse.
On his way to Poland for World Youth Day on Wednesday, Pope Francis told journalists that the world is at war, but it is not at heart a religious conflict. He said, quote, "It's a war of interests, a war of money, a war of natural resources, and for the dominion of the peoples. Some might say it's a religious war. Every religion wants peace. The war is wanted by the others." Well, religious war or not, ISIS has claimed responsibility for a suicide bombing in northern Syria on Wednesday. 48 people were killed and over 130 injured when a truck bomb exploded near a Kurdish area in Al-Qamsali, near the Turkish border. ISIS said the operation was in retaliation for U.S.-led coalition airstrikes that have killed over 100 people in the region since June. Al-Qamsali is mainly controlled by U.S.-backed Kurdish forces, and the attack came as the Kurds advanced against ISIS-held territory in northeastern Syria. And German Chancellor Angela Merkel doubled down on her country's policy of accepting Middle Eastern refugees, despite 2 terror attacks by Muslim asylum seekers in the past week. At a news conference on Thursday, Merkel insisted Germany would follow the Geneva Refugee Convention by continuing to shelter migrants fleeing violence, political persecution, and war. Merkel's comments came just days after a suicide bombing injured 15 in southern Germany and an axe attack last week injured 5. Both attacks were carried out by refugees who were apparently adherents of radical Islam. And in a related story, Polish officials have been resisting accepting refugees given the events in nearby Germany. Shortly after his arrival there this week, the Pope urged the Polish government to accept refugees in a spirit of readiness to welcome. And it's been a wild, rocky, and historic week at the Democratic National Convention in Philadelphia. Hillary Clinton was officially nominated as the Democrats' choice for president, making her the first woman to lead the ticket for a major party. She made a surprise appearance on Wednesday, taking the stage with President Barack Obama to the delight of the crowd. The week started out not so great for the Dems. Democratic National Committee Chair Debbie Wasserman Schultz resigned after leaked emails showed favoritism of Clinton over her primary challenger, Bernie Sanders. The leak only added fuel to the burning fire of Sanders delegates who felt the fix for Clinton was in from the start. Inside and outside the convention, Sanders supporters protested everything from the Trans-Pacific Partnership to the fight against ISIS and even the nomination of Hillary Clinton herself. Meanwhile, the Democratic nominee for vice president is once again an avowed Catholic. Virginia Senator Tim Kaine considers himself personally pro-life. He formally introduced himself to delegates at the convention on Wednesday. A day earlier, reports surfaced that Kaine had flip-flopped on his support of the Hyde Amendment, the perennial budget measure that has forbidden the federal government from funding abortions since 1976. Campaign sources confirmed that Kaine had privately told Clinton that he would support a Hyde repeal. Just last month, Kaine told the Weekly Standard that he has, quote, traditionally been a supporter of the Hyde Amendment. More on the Hillary Clinton historic nomination and the Democrats' topsy-turvy week in our next segment. And buried in the headlines, the Internal Revenue Service confirmed that it is investigating possible wrongdoing by the Clinton Foundation. The probe of the foundation came in response to a July 15th letter from 64 House Republicans alleging that the Clintons may have personally enriched themselves in a pay-to-play scheme. They allegedly promised favors for donations to their charity, and according to a report in the Daily Caller, IRS Commissioner John Koskinen told Tennessee Congresswoman Marsha Blackburn in a letter that their concerns are under consideration. The foundation's tax-exempt status could be in jeopardy if the IRS decides to take action following the review. The Clinton campaign told Fox News that the Republican request for an investigation is a baseless attack. Sources at the Clinton Foundation have denied that there is any investigation underway. We'll keep an eye on the story. Meanwhile, Donald Trump and Governor Mike Pence spent the week campaigning across several swing states, looking to build on the momentum of last week's Republican National Convention. The Republican ticket has jumped out to a lead over their Democrat counterparts. It is the first time ever Trump has led Clinton in a national average of polls, as calculated by Real Clear Politics. But it's a tight race. Trump currently edges Clinton 46 to 45%. And World Youth Day kicked off in Krakow, Poland, the homeland of Pope John Paul II. Pope Francis arrived for festivities on Wednesday. This year's triennial event will host 2 million young people, 50 cardinals, 800 bishops, and some 20,000 priests from around the world. On the first night in Krakow, the Pope told youths to make chaos. From the balcony of the bishop's palace, he said, "You must do your duty and make chaos all night." He encouraged the young to show their Christian joy. Now, there was a scary moment on Thursday. During the live broadcast of the papal Mass, the Holy Father was circling the altar with incense when he suddenly fell to the ground. Nearby clergy rushed to the Pope's aid while he remained on the ground for several moments. Pope Francis was fine and continued the Mass. He merely tripped, apparently, and the fall was not due to his sciatica. And for you folks in Orange County and Southern California, I'm coming your way on Saturday, August 6th. I'll be at the Freed Theater at the Christ Cathedral campus talking about Will Wilder and Mother Angelica. It's going to be an intimate evening with lots of Q&A. I hope you can join us. I'm also signing books afterwards, so join us for the fun on August 6th. All the details and the link to tickets are at RaymondArroyo.com. It's right at the bottom of the page.